Okay, so we are going to start a new um, YouTube postings about reading the Bible daily. So let's read the Bible together. And I would like to start with my favorite gospel from John. And I just read it, and sometimes I will use I will use New King James Version, and sometimes I will use One Man Bible. It's called the Revealing Jewish Roots and Power. So I do like because it's translated from Hebrew by Jewish authors, and has more in-depth translations there. So sometimes I use both, sometimes I use just one. So let's go. So John, Gospel John, if everybody has their Bibles, and we would like to start from first verse, first chapter of John, Gospel of John, first verse. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not the light, but was sent to bear witness of the light. That was the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. And the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of the blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. Let me just stop right here. Let's just understand what we are reading. Let's just think about that and go through each sentence and each verse and understand that it says, in the beginning was the Word. So, as I understand, there was a beginning. If there is a beginning, then it speaks to me that there will be the end also. Because beginning is beginning of something. There is a length of something. If there will be no length of anything, there will be no beginning, no end. But as we see in the beginning, it says, in the beginning was the Word. There was nothing there, and there was a Word. And the Word was with God. The Word was with God. To me, it speaks like there is a word, and there's something that's a substance, or it's something that you can see. Maybe you can, maybe it's tangible. Maybe you can sense it, and it was with God. So something must be with somebody. So right now, I know my son is right now sitting in the same room with me. So he is with me. So it says that there was, and the Word was with God. So, Word was with God. And as we read, Word is capitalized. And the Word was God. So, there was a Word was with God, and the Word was God. Amazing. He was in the beginning with God. So, the Word, who is God, was in the beginning with God. So as we see God, and we see Word, and the Word's name is God, and God was with God. So all things were made through him. Him is also capitalized. All things, that means everything. Everything we see, everything we can touch, everything we can walk on. Everything, it says all things, that means includes everything. All things were made through him, through the Word who is God. Yeah? And without him, whom? The Word, in whom? The Word is God. Yeah? Without him, nothing was made that was made. That means through Word was everything made, and through Word, that means through God, everything was made, and nothing was made, and without him, nothing was made that was made. In him, now it was through him, now it's in him was life, and the life was the light of man. So everything was made through him, through the Word, and Word was God. And now in him, which is in him, was life. Life, that means it has breath, it has everything that it moves. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. Let's just keep reading. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Let's just go read my one New Man Bible. There's some little difference here. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things came through him, and there was not one thing that came into being without his participation. What had come in him was life, and the life was the light of mankind. In him was life, and the life was light of mankind. And the light shines in the darkness. Nevertheless, the darkness has not appropriated. And we keep reading. There was a man sent from God. We know that whose name was John. John was one of the disciples of Jesus Christ. And there was a man sent from God whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. So he is telling the story. He says that John the disciple, who was with the Lord, who was called to be his a disciple, and he was following Jesus. He was with him. That way he says that he came to bear witness of the light, and through him the people would believe, because now he's giving these facts. He was not the light, which is John. John was not the light, but was sent to bear witness of the light, to bear witness of that light. That was the true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. The true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world. Who? He was the Word, and the Word, who is God, and in whom is light, the light to man, to all mankind. He was in the world. He created in the world, and the world was made through him, as we know. It's repeating again in verse 10. And the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. As we know, his own was it's the nation of Judah, Israeli. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. See, it says here the secret, the wonderful mystery of us being called children of God. It's right here, the promise. As many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. He gave them right to become children of God. How do you obtain your right to become a child of God? It says right here in verse 12, as many as received him, whom? Jesus Christ, as Word, as Jesus Christ, as a light. Through him everything was made. He was with God. He was God. It says the Word was God. Jesus is God. But as many as received him, whom? God, Jesus, to them he gave, who gave? Jesus gave the right to become children of God. To those who believe in his name, who were born, not only believe in Jesus Christ, when you believe in Jesus Christ, you become a children of God, a child of God. It says, to those who believe in his name, just believing in the name of Jesus Christ, that Jesus is the Word. Jesus is the Word. Jesus is the beginning. In the beginning was the Word. And through him was everything made. Through Jesus was made. He is God. And it says, who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, not of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So, who were not born nor of blood, nor of the will of the flesh. It doesn't matter that you were born, what nationality you are, or where, what part of earth you were born, what country you were born. You were born just from blood and flesh. It's just normal process of being mankind on this earth, but that doesn't bring you to be a child of God. But those who receive him, whom Jesus, he gave the right. He gave right. So that's I receive Jesus and I have right to become a child of God. And I believe in his mighty name. His name is Jesus Christ, or Yeshua Mashiach, his native Jewish name, Yeshua Mashiach, which is, we know, translates Yeshua, who saves, Mashiach, the anointed one, the Christ, the Messiah, Yeshua, the anointed one. And I believe in his name, and I believe that the name he came, he fulfilled the purpose of his name, Yeshua, who saves you and who delivers you. Yeshua, who saves you, who delivers you. Mashiach, who is the Christ, who is the anointed one, the Messiah. So it says here, in verse 14 it says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. Let's just read the other Bible. So it's verse 14. Verse 14, it says here, and the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we saw his glory, glory in the same manner as the only child of the Father. See, it's more understandable translation. Full of grace and truth. John bore witness concerning him and cried out, saying, This one was he of whom I said, the one who is coming after me has been before me, because he is more prominent than I. Because we all took grace upon grace from his fullness. For the Torah, which is teaching, was given through Moses. The grace and the truth came through Yeshua Mashiach. No one has ever seen God, the only Son of God, the one who was in the bosom of the Father. That one declared him. Let's read again, New King James Version. 16. And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is the bosom of the Father, and has declared him. So let's just go back again and read and try to understand. Like I said, we need to chew that. And the Word became flesh. So do you remember in the beginning was the Word was with God, and Word was God. And the Word, it says here, Word became flesh, became human being, became mankind, and dwelled among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. And here's, this Bible says that, as the only child of the Father, as the only child of the Father. John bore witness. Who is John? Not the John who wrote this gospel. The John the Baptist. Yeah. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, "This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me." So he was before me, and I came after him. So when he comes, he stands before me. He was the beginning. He was God. He was the Word. In him, everything was created. In Jesus Christ, everything was created, it says here. In Jesus Christ, everything beginning was in him, through him. And nothing was made without him. And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. So of his fullness, of the fullness of God, of everything of God himself, we all have received. We received all. And grace for grace. In him, through Jesus Christ. So he says right here in the 17th, for the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Grace and truth. Jesus Christ is the grace and the truth of God. There is no law. He came to fulfill the law. The law was speaking about him. He came, he fulfilled the law, the Torah, the teaching, the prophets, the Word of God was teaching. He will come. He will come. The teaching was speaking about, and he came, he fulfilled what was taught. He said, I fulfilled the law. That means the law was spoken about him. He came, he became flesh. He fulfilled the law. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. So he was with him, with God, Creator. He was the Creator, through him was, and he declared about him, the Creator. So today we will finish on the verse 18. And the powerful chapter, absolutely wonderful. I love Gospel of John because it's beautiful. It's very clear to understand who Jesus is. It speaks who Jesus is. It says Jesus in the beginning was the Word. There was a beginning. If there is a beginning, that means there will be end. And that's mean it's everything is in time frame. There's a time frame. And in the beginning was the Word, and Word was with God, and Word was God, and the Word become flesh. Through Him everything was made. In Him we have light as a mankind. He is, in Him is life. He is the life. That's what Jesus Christ, what He said. Later on we will read. He said, I'm the life, I'm the truth, and I'm the light and the truth and the life. So He is the light to see clear, and I'm the life. He is the life. In Him is the only life. And I'm the truth. So He is the Word, He is the truth. So it was the whole chapter, first chapter, and verses very clearly speaking and explaining who Jesus is. Jesus is God. He is the Word become flesh, lived with us, brought light and life to us. Through Him who believe in His name, in Him, in Yeshua Mashiach, in Jesus Christ, through Him who receive Him, we have a right to become children of God.